Howdy civics fans, Mr. Biankowski again with our second course. This is going to be Chapter 3, Lesson 2, Becoming a Citizen. We're going to talk about two big things in here. First, how you become a citizen. And second, you need to know what the United States is. I bet you almost anything you don't know what the United States is. If I ask you, describe to me what is the United States, the majority of you can't do it. Why? Because I think you're not smart, not well educated. No, I've been doing this for a while. I still have people surprising me. They don't know what the United States is. Even the number of states. So when we go over this, hopefully you're going to get it. So this first slide is going to be a big giveaway to the part of how you become a citizen. So Abigail, are you a United States citizen?
Yep.
You are. How did you become a United States citizen?
Well, I was born here.
You were born here. So there's going to be some real easy ways to become a United States citizen. The easiest one is to be born here. It's automatic. By United States law, if you were born in the United States, you're automatically a United States citizen. That's going to be called law of soil. Think about it. If you are born on United States dirt, you're a citizen. Law of soil. You're also a United States citizen because your parents are
United States citizens.
If you're born of United States citizens, you're a United States citizen. Because I could be a United States citizen, I could be living in Japan, I could have my child in Japan, that's not U.S. soil, but that child's a United States citizen. Why? We recognize the baseline of who our United States citizens are. Law of soil, anybody born in the United States, and the other one's going to be law of blood. Anybody who has U.S. citizen parents are automatically citizens. Ma'am?
This might come up later, but I figured I'd ask now. So, let's say you're in Japan and you have a kid with a Japanese citizen. So you're an American citizen, they're a citizen of Japan. What is that child? Are they like a citizen of both?
That always comes up, and I have to hedge on that. U.S. law says if your parents are citizens, you're a citizen. Mm-hmm. So automatically that child, if it has one U.S. citizen parent, is automatically a U.S. citizen. Every other country, there's 120 plus, it would depend on their law.
Okay.
But generally, yes. Generally, most countries say, yeah, if your parents are citizens, baby's a citizen. Not every country says if you were born in that country, you're a citizen. Because you got to think about it. You're a Russian. You're pregnant. You're on vacation in the United States. You're 9 months pregnant. You have a baby in the United States while you're on vacation. Your child's probably a Russian citizen because you're a Russian. Is that child an American citizen?
Well, yes.
Yes, because it's law of soil, born on U.S. soil. So that baby lucks out. That baby's 1 second old. It's a U.S. citizen. Now, can that baby do much with his or her citizenship?
No.
No, because it's a second old. But the United States government says, congratulations, what's a good Russian female name? Congratulations, baby Natasha, you're a U.S. citizen.
So, like, if it grows up, it can just come here, it doesn't need, like,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's a U.S. citizen. Now, of course, you got to be smart. You need to be able to document it and all that, because someday if you come back to the United States and you're 30 years old and you're like, hey, I'm a citizen, they're going to be like, all right, prove it, Natasha. All right? But yes, U.S. law recognizes law of soil. Anybody born in the United States is a citizen. Law of blood. Citizen parents, child's a citizen. Law of soil. Born in the United States, citizen. We'll get into this one later on. The naturalization process is the legal process an immigrant would follow to become a citizen. So if I immigrate from Egypt or Thailand or Afghanistan, I could become a U.S. citizen through the naturalization process. All right, Abigail. You're the only one here. What is the United States? If somebody comes from Russia or different planets, says, all right, I understand there's this entity called the United States. It is a country, it is a nation Describe it. What pieces, parts are the United States?
I would say the United States is, when you think about it, you think of North America.
North America.
The accumulation of 50 states.
50 states in North America. Perfect. Good start.
There's also different U.S. territories in different places around the world that we have ownership of.
Wonderful. We do have 50 states, not 48, not 52. If somebody doesn't give me the number 50, it's either 48 or 52. And I can kind of see why, but please, for all that is holy, if you learn one thing in my civics classes, you can tell your parents, grandparents, cousin Eddie, there's 50 states. Don't get that wrong. If you get that wrong, Ms. Ziegler's your civics teacher, not me. There are 16 territories. There's these little weird places in the Caribbean Sea and the Pacific Ocean. Most are small. Most of these places don't even have people living there. They're just basically tropical islands, coral reefs, called territories that belong to the United States government and are considered part of the United States. So if you're born in a territory, a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that counts. We have one national capital. We break that out because the national capital is not equal to a state legally in our Constitution. What's the capital of the United States?
Washington, D.C.
And D.C. stands for?
District of Columbia.
It does. So we have 50 states, not 48, not 52. We have one national capital, Washington, D.C. We have 16 territories. And of those 16 territories, I like to focus on these: Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, and Northern Marianas Islands, because those are the territories people live in. There's some like Midway that either there's only temporary people on there or there's nobody there. So Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, Northern Marianas Islands, half human beings live in there, in cities and roads and airports and all that. Some of these other places basically have nothing. So that's where they are. So of course you know the United States, this is the lower 48 states right there. We also call them the contiguous or connected 48 states. Up here we have what, Abby?
Alaska.
And here we have?
Hawaii.
Right. 50 states. 48 states connected in a big clump here on the main body of the continent of North America. 48 contiguous or connected states. There's us down there. Alaska, way up yonder. What country's here?
Canada.
What country's here?
Asia?
Russia.
Oh.
Continent's Asia, country's Russia.
Okay. Yeah.
So Alaska's way up here in the north, wedged between Canada and Russia. And of course, Hawaii, smack dab, pretty much in the middle of the...
Ocean.
Which one?
Atlantic Ocean.
Pacific Ocean. All right. The other big ones, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, have people living there. Northern Marianas and Guam have people living there. The rest of these, pretty much a whole lot of nothing. Still parts of the United States, U.S. territories. But like Midway, there's some military folks there and scientists, and that's about it. Most of these other places, they're reefs or desert islands with like nothing.
But why hasn't like we civilized those places yet? Like, is there a reason, or is there just nothing? Like, there's no way people could live there?
It's hard. Midway Island's in the middle of nowhere. It's, hours away by plane from Hawaii, which is kind of middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
We flew to Hawaii. How long did that take?
A very long time.
Yeah, it's a long flight, right? So these other places are very, very, very small. They don't have much infrastructure. So, you can't move to Midway, buy a house and try to live there because there's like no schools, no jobs. Same thing with Wake. Wake has some military folks and scientists. Midway has military folks and scientists, but there's no cities. I'll show you the issue right here. San Juan, Puerto Rico, does that look like a real city?
Mm-hmm.
It is. 400,000 people. Puerto Rico's populated. Some people say Puerto Rico should be a state. You'll see that come up maybe in your lifetime. You'll see 51 states, and one of the candidates for 51st state, Puerto Rico. Another place you hear about being called a state is Washington, D.C.
Mm.
I might not see that in my lifetime. I wouldn't bet out that y'all will see a new flag where somebody's going to sew a 51st star in there because Puerto Rico or Washington, D.C. become a state. San Juan, Puerto Rico, U.S. territory. They are American citizens. They're not foreigners. They're Americans. So when hurricane hits Puerto Rico, should we help Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're American citizens.
People don't know. Puerto Rico. Here's some examples of these places that have nothing there. So, pretty much a desert island. It's got birds in there, probably some lizards or something. No human beings live on Navassa Island. This is in the Caribbean Sea. This is Midway, in the middle of the Pacific, off of Hawaii. That's a wing of a plane. And you see that's the airstrip there. So like a good chunk of that island is just taken up by that airstrip,
Yeah.
right? Right? So all that's in there is some military folks and scientists, because there's some like endangered animals that live out there. So Midway really is kind of like a protected park area. People don't live there because it'd be hard to live there. You somehow move to Midway with your wife and kids. There's no jobs, there's no schools, there's no real medical support and care, there's no Walmart, there's no putt-putt golf, there's no water slide. It'd be tough to live there. All right. Civics is the study of citizenship and government. So two parts of this is, first, you need to know what the United States is. And what's the United States?
The 50 states
50 states.
and the territories.
16 of them, really 4 with people on it, and 1 other political organization. It's not a state, but it's still.
Bases.
Ooh, yeah, military bases too. I kind of skipped over that. Military bases are considered U.S. soil. So if you're born on a U.S. base, are you a citizen?
Yep.
Yep. And Washington, D.C. is our national capital. All right. If you are a citizen, you owe your loyalty and allegiance to that country, and that country owes some loyalty and allegiance back to you. And it should, at least as a most basic part of its job as a government, is to kind of take care of you and protect you. Now, what that's going to mean throughout the United States history is going to be different, and it's different what, some political persuasion is going to have different ideas of what that government owes to its citizens. But the idea of citizenship is, I belong to this country, I owe things to it, and that government owes things to me. There's a relationship, and it should be two-way. So how do you become a citizen? And the big way you get the citizen jackpot is by
Birth.
You have no choice, no impact, no say. You come out of that hospital, congratulations, you won the citizenship lottery. You are a U.S. citizen by birth. That is law of blood. If you were born on U.S. territory, you're a citizen by law of soil. If you are not born, blood, or parents, you can become a citizenship. You can't become a citizenship. You can become a citizen, and the legal process to get your citizenship is called the naturalization process. Abigail comes here from Afghanistan. There's going to be a list of things she has to do if she wants to become a U.S. citizen. That process is called the naturalization process. Again, law of soil, law of blood. You're born on U.S. dirt, law of soil, you're automatically a citizen. Congratulations. Your mom may be Japanese, your dad may be Spanish, but if they have you on U.S. soil, congratulations, you're 1 second old, you're a U.S. citizen. And again, you really can't do anything about it. You can't vote, you can't say, I want to stay here, but because you were born on this soil, you're a U.S. citizen. Law of blood, at least one parent, U.S. citizen, you are a citizen. We'll throw some Latin in there, you don't need to know it. You do need to know law of soil, law of blood. Don't worry about the Latin. It's the fancy legal terms for law of blood, law of soil. But you're smart. You could probably figure at least this one out, right? All right. 5 big things to become a citizen for the naturalization process. Abby, she comes from Afghanistan. She's going to have to do 5 big things to become a U.S. citizen. First, she's got to be 18 years old. She can't come here as a minor and become a citizen. So she basically has to start with being an adult. So the adult 18-year-old Abby comes from Afghanistan. I want to be a U.S. citizen. Why? Because it's awesome. And it is. We're pretty lucky in a lot of ways. So she's got to be an adult. Second, you have to live here for at least 5 years lawfully first. So if Abby comes here as a 13-year-old, lives here lawfully for 5 years, at that 5th year, she's 18 years old, she can start that naturalization process. So you have this like tryout period of 5 years. It helps you learn the country, you learn the language, which is going to be important. And the country gets to see you. Is this person a criminal? Right? So you are 18 years old, you live as a lawful resident for 5 years.
So, how do you even start that? Do you just come in the country and you're like, hey, my 5 years starts now, put it on the clock? Like, you're supposed to let me live here for 5 years and then we can get this going?
So you want to get really technical, you have to start this first. You have to become that lawful permanent resident. So one of the things you have to do is come to the United States legally and register as a lawful permanent resident. Okay? So let's say you're 13-year-old Abby, right? What probably happened is you come here with your parents, you all come here and register as lawful permanent residents. And you're going to say, gee, well, how do I do that? It's hard, particularly now. It used to be the United States would admit about 1 million immigrants a year legally. So you would get up with the U.S. called consulate, and you'd apply, and you'd like to say, hi, Abby's mom and dad and little 13-year-old Abby, we would like to be lawful permanent residents. They would do paperwork, they'd get it stamped, you get something called a green card, and now you can live in the United States. Now Abby's clock has started. She lives in the United States lawfully for 5 years with that green card, and she'll start that naturalization process to be a citizen. So let's call it 2016. Let's call it 2015, make it easier. 2015, the United States was letting 1 million people in a year. 2016, with the government changing, that's changed. That's been cut down from 500,000 to 250,000 and shrinking more and more because the current government wants less immigration coming into the country. So you would have to be one of that list of 1 million people, or now 250,000 people. Where am I? Start that process. Does that make sense?
And if they deny you, what do you have to do? You just have to go back?
You got to stay home and you keep applying. So, yeah, it is not easy. And we'll talk about how you get priority on that list. If you have family already living here, you go to the top of the list. If you have a job skill the country wants, you come to the top of the list. So let's say your mom's a brain surgeon, your dad's a computer whiz. You may go to the list to become lawful permanent, top of the list, become lawful permanent residents. All right, what else? To become a citizen, you have to be able to read, write, speak English. Kind of makes sense. That's the language here that most of us speak. The United States has no official language. None. Some countries do. The U.S. doesn't. But do we have an official language? Sure, it's English. So to become a citizen, you need to be able to read, write, and speak English. Kind of makes sense to function in this country. It's pretty helpful stuff. They must be of good moral character. That doesn't mean you have to be nice and say please and thank you. It's basically a background check. You can't be some sort of weird international drug dealing, terrorist, criminal, serial killer. So this is a series of security and background checks, and also a check to see when you're here as a lawful permanent resident, do you obey the law or not? So Abby could be here as a lawful permanent resident and she robs a bunch of banks. When she's doing her naturalization process, the people doing the paperwork for the naturalization service is going to be like, yeah, You robbed 17 banks. You're not of good moral character. We're going to ease up on giving you citizenship. Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens? You're probably going to get what's called deported, thrown out of the country. And last, you got to pass the civics test. To become a U.S. citizen through the naturalization process, you got to pass the civics test. So they're going to do a course much like y'all are doing and learn U.S. civics. They got to pass the civics test. And the way it's done, it's administered orally as question and answer with the naturalization officer. So you basically knock out your civics, read, write, and speaking at the same time. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Voila. So you got to be an adult. You live here lawfully for 5 years as a lawful permanent resident. 5 years. You can't be some weird terrorist criminal. Read, write, speak English, and you got to pass a civics test. Is that test hard? You could see what it's like. We're going to have a link to it. So, see if it's hard enough. Is it hard? It's not hard. Could you pass it now? Many of you probably could pass it right now. Could all of you pass it now? No. Should you all be able to pass this civics test at the end of this year? Let's hope so. Can your parents pass this test right now? Some can, some can't. Click the links. We won't do it here on the video. Click these links and you will see details on what that citizenship civics test is like, and a little more explanation of how you meet your requirements for citizenship in the naturalization process. Can you lose your citizenship?
Yep.
You got to work hard to lose your citizenship. The country doesn't strip people of their citizenship for no reason. Oh, and states have no say in this. Florida can't take your citizenship away. It's run by the federal government. So the federal government gives you citizenship and can take it away, but you got to be like, give up your citizenship by becoming a citizen of another country. If you lie on your paperwork, if Abby on her naturalization paperwork says, nope, I've never been a terrorist, I've never done terrorist stuff, and in your security background they find out you're a terrorist, you've lied, you lose your citizenship, you get
Well, if I
kicked
put
out.
yes, I wouldn't be allowed in anyway.
Well, true.
So either way.
So I guess force them to catch you. There's some crimes that can cause you to lose your citizenship. This isn't little stuff like stealing a car or vandalizing property. You got to commit treason. Treason, do you know what treason is?
It's like going against your country.
Betraying your country, typically to the government of another country. So if you're a spy for Russia or China, you can get convicted of treason and you can lose your citizenship, and you can be deported, which means tossed out of the country. Yeah, and it's the federal government who does this, not the states. State of Florida can't give you U.S. citizenship, can't take away your citizenship. The state, if the government says you're a U.S. citizen, the state says that's good for us. We'll learn all about that. States do certain things, and the United States government, the federal government, does certain things.
I'm just kind of wondering how, like, in order to do treason, you would have to be a part of the government. Because, like, what am I gonna tell, like, another country that they don't already know about the United States? Everything's
You're right.
public.
And that's a good point. Yes, typically to be able to commit treason, you're usually some sort of government official.
Like the president's best friend or something.
Because you have access to that stuff that other countries want. And I mean, CIA agent or an FBI agent, you have all kinds of secret scroll stuff you know about and do. You are a government official, so it's easier for you to commit treason than for me. I mean, how am I going to commit treason? It's hard. I could do things like try to overthrow the government. I can try to raise some sort of rebel army that's going to take America over. That would be treason. I could lose my citizenship for that. But, you know, I'm not in the CIA. I can't give all kinds of cool spy stuff to China or Russia, so it would be hard for me to commit treason. I guess it's not impossible, but you're right. Who typically commits treason? Government officials. Why? Because they can, because they have the power and the access to the stuff that Russia and China wants. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for me to commit treason, almost impossible for you to commit
Yeah.
treason. Maybe later you could
I
aspire
put
to
my mind
that.
to it.
So if you have that permission to be here, you're called a legal alien. Ha, alien, yeah, that's people in space. No, alien just means different. So when we talk about citizenship, if you are a legal alien, you have the government's permission to be here, right? And you'll get a ID, which is in slang called a green card, because it's green, and it identifies you as somebody with the government's legal permission to be here. So if you come here to work, most people, you're working on your citizenship. Again, most people who have the green card or lawful residents, they can be here. The ID they have is this. Do they have to follow the law?
Yep.
Can they have a job?
Yep.
Can they own a car?
Yep.
Can they buy a house?
Yeah.
Can they vote?
Yes.
No. They have to be citizens to vote,
Okay, that makes sense.
right? So lawful permanent residents, people who are allowed to be here, they get basically all their rights protected. They can have jobs. They have to pay taxes, all right? But the things they can't do, they can't vote. They can't run for office. Hi, I've been here for 2 years. I'd like to be president, please. No. They may or may not be able to have some government jobs. So they have permission to be here. They're legal residents. They're legal aliens. They carry a green card. They're protected by the Constitution and most of our laws. What can't they do? Things only citizens can do. Think of that way. Citizens vote. This guy's allowed to be here legally. He could have a house and have a job and pay taxes, but he can't vote until he becomes a citizen.
Can they apply for government assistance?
That's a good one.
I would think not, because, you know, if someone is a permanent resident for like a month and they immediately go to get government assistance, like, I mean, I don't know.
They could go to school and they can participate in many government programs, but I don't know all. So that's a good question. We'll have to figure that out. But all right, legal aliens are here with government permission. Of course, that's contrasted with an illegal alien that don't have government permission to be here. There's a special group of people that come here to basically save their own lives. These people are called refugees. If you are a refugee, you are coming to this country, basically fleeing immediate danger to you and your family. So if your country is going through a war, some sort of strange terrorist or crime crisis, your country's just been blasted by a huge tsunami or a hurricane and it's dangerous to stay here, of course you're going to want to leave. Not just to protect your own life, but more important than your own life, your kids. These people are called refugees. Traditionally, nations accept refugees into their countries, at least on a temporary basis, and give them support. The United States, in slowing immigration, has also really limited the number of refugees it allows into the United States. But refugees, people escaping danger from other countries, typically protected by other governments and given at least some sort of temporary legal status to stay in their country. U.S. has been letting less and less refugees into the nation over time, and particularly lately. Where do refugees come from? Places that have wars or other terrible things going on. If you didn't know about Congo, Congo's been racked by civil war, horrible and bloody, the kind of things that the armies are doing in Congo. Congo is one of those places where they use child soldiers. Think of it as a form of slavery. The rebel group would go into a village, steal all the children, take them. The boys they use for soldiers, and the girls they use for cooking, clean, and everything else. Burma, horrible civil war and rebellion there. Ukraine, been invaded by Russia, so a lot of people are trying to get out of there, etc. Russia, why do people leave Russia? because their government's corrupt and takes away their civil and human rights. Afghanistan, been racked by war for 20 years straight, with a short break. Let's call it 40 years straight. So people that come to the United States as refugees come for their personal safety because they're fleeing danger, usually from war or some sort of natural disaster. So if you're a legal alien, you're here with government permission. If you're illegal, you don't have government permission. You have just come here probably across the border without permission, illegally. Why do illegal aliens come here? To do bad things? Almost never. Why do illegal aliens come here?
Because they're like trying to get out quickly and they think it's the only way.
They're trying to have better lives for themselves and their families. They're fleeing bad economic conditions or crimes or wars. So if you're a refugee and you can't get government permission to come into the United States, are you tempted to come here illegally?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you're in Mexico and your family is starving to death and there's drug criminals all over the place who want to kidnap your son, may you want to come to the United States? Yes. And if you apply and you can't get in because you're not on that shrinking list of legal immigration, are you tempted to come here illegally?
Yeah.
Sure. The number of illegal aliens in the United States today, usually hovering in the low 10 million, so 10 million, 13 million. Is that a lot of people? Sure. Is 13 million a lot in a country of 330 million? I would say no. So is illegal immigration a problem? Of course. Is it a huge problem? I just do math. There's 330 million people in the United States. 13 million are here illegally. Is that a huge issue? And then also, how do you fix that 13 million? Are you going to try to round up 13 million people and send them back to their countries? Completely impractical. How are you going to round up 13 million and send them back to their countries? And what are these people doing? Are they working?
Yeah.
Are they building houses?
Yep.
Are they cooking your food?
Yep.
Are they cleaning your house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These 13 million people aren't just laying there doing nothing, or worse, committing crimes. So you have broken the law if you're here illegally. Is that a problem the government has to fix? Yes. Is it a huge, tremendous problem? That's up to you to figure out. You ask me, it's a problem we can manage without extraordinary measures. We've lived with illegal aliens the entirety of all our existence here. And if they're caught, they can be deported. So legal immigration dropping, particularly since 2016. Elections have consequences. The current president, Donald Trump, campaigned on the fact that he was going to cut down immigration, and he did. So even though numbers have been dropping since highs in the 90s, immigration cut sharply with the 2016 election. Any questions?
No.
Awesome. Next video is going to be online hopefully shortly. Have a great Hobbs Day.